Hello, I'm Neko Trocki of WBRW TV. Here I'm joined with former American Idol contestant and audio engineer Ryan Romano, here to promote his new wacky song, Subtleness. So you described the song as like really weird, really wacky. Tell us about the whole narrative of the song.
So I want to preface the whole thing by saying that it's intentionally weird and strange and wacky. The whole thing came together as a narrative piece, with regards to myself enjoying subtle, simple situations like, maybe I'm walking through a forest or enjoying a nice picnic or, a nice trip to the pool. And then a bear comes up and ruins each and every one of those situations, and it's just, absolute disaster and chaos. So, it's really, it's supposed to be funny. Hopefully you laughed, or, whoever's watching it, hopefully they laugh. So we made a whole day of filming that music video all in one day, and that was, really fun. But, it was me and you, and then Ethan Rogers as the bear. And, you get to see Ethan terrorize me all day, which is really fun. But, Ethan and I have a history together in theater, and which, I think that really works well for the whole give and take of the whole situation. We did some Dear Evan Hansen stuff together and a number of other things. I think it's really strange, and I love that about it because, it's a music video, it really is, but it's everything a music video shouldn't be. So, you remember Thermal, you had a huge part in making that whole thing come together, and, that was, I think, everything a music video should be. There was a band playing, there was, everything was very straightforward music video. And I think Subtleness is everything that a music video probably isn't, and I think that's great because I wanted to just, contrast everything that I didn't do in Thermal. This one is just really weird and it's really strange and it's super narrative, and I love that about it. So, I'm really happy that everything about Subtleness, from the narratives and the characters and just everything, is really just all come together, and I think it's really cool. So, yeah.
So I think you really pulled off the whole weird nature of this whole video in the best way possible. The video was really funny, and the song itself was really great. I really enjoyed the song. So video aside, what was the inspiration behind the song itself?
Yeah, so the whole thing actually came to fruition in really the most opposite way that I would think. I would never, so the way I started to write it was I started with the name of the song and worked backwards, actually. I was like, okay, I have the name of the song, I need to create a song around it, but the place I actually got that name from was part of my American Idol feature was actually me describing some of my own traits, and one of which was the word subtleness, which actually turns out isn't a real word, but it's okay. We made it work, and I think the message got across. So I took the name of that song, and I was able to create the song around it, and it was actually originally a very soft ballad. And then I started to, I reflected on the intensity of what Thermal was and where I want to go in the direction with the music that I make. And I started to really fall in love with that intensity, and I just kind of kept throwing more instruments in there, and now it's pretty intense. It's pretty elaborate and whatnot. It worked well, which usually it's probably not the best way to go about production, to say, hey, let's throw 3 more guitars in here. That'll be fine. But it worked. So I was excited. I was really happy to see all of that come to fruition with regards to just, I was able to take it from the ballad that I originally wrote it as, and just make it that much more intense, make it a bit faster, make it, I redid the vocals actually a couple times, just because I wanted to have a little bit more energy in it. Just happy to see that's all come together.
So what's the deal with these two guys behind me? We got the bear and we got the stone head. What was the inspiration behind the artwork, and how'd you go about making it?
So I've really tried to create 2 characters in this whole thing. This whole product is very narrative in a very weird way. The bear I've tried to paint as the antagonist, and then the Stonehenge guy, who you named on music video filming day, Ernie. So, hi Ernie. Really, aside from the bear being the antagonist, I've tried to draw a parallel between myself and Ernie here. Being that I'm wearing silver, he is gray, and I think that kind of establishes, hey, we're on the same side here. We're really both, in a long battle to, defeat the menacing bear. So, I guess see how that comes to fruition in the music video. But the artwork itself is actually pretty cool. So the bear that you see in the artwork was completely AI generated, which is like crazy. So there is a software that Elon Musk had something to do with creating called DALL-E or something like that. I was able to type a prompt into there to make a bear and a moai head, and then I ended up replacing it with actually Ernie. I had Ernie made by an artist friend of mine, Autumn Frederick. She was great with it, and now he is, fully functional as a stone statue. So pretty cool. But both of them ended up making it into the artwork, and they, just right next to each other because they're both, key players in this whole song's narrative side, which is again really weird. But so I was able to take both the menacing bear and Ernie, and really have them come to fruition on the artwork, and then who really made the whole thing look that great. Ty Miller is great with Photoshop and whatnot, so he was able to stick me on top of Ernie there, sitting up there, and then you know, really make everything look consistent shadow-wise, and you know, just take that AI thing that I generated initially and just make it into something really cool. So really happy to see that whole thing come together. But you know, maybe that ends up on a T-shirt someday or something. I don't know. I'd wear it.
So going back to some of my previous questions about the song itself, tell me about some of the instrumentation for Subtleness.
So on a production aspect, I'm also an audio engineer, so you know, I create and produce all these instruments myself because I get super pretentious about the tones of my instruments. So I figure if I do it myself, then I'll know what I want it to sound like. So it's kind of cool if you listen to it on a you know, in a stereo setting, the song itself. You can hear that the piano is off to one side and the guitars and whatnot are on the other. And I think that's, you know, it's kind of cool because I was able to draw. And that's really where I came up with the whole idea of contrast between what ended up being the bear and Ernie, is the guitars were contrasting the piano because they were both, you know, on either sides, and it's kind of almost as if they're fighting because you hear the beginning of the songs is this super arbitrary stuff, but the beginning of the song, it starts out with a really, you know, intense guitar, and then that guitar comes back, and then there's a synthesizer, which is more keys, more piano-esque, and so I think if you kind of think of it as if there's contrast in the song itself, this was kind of the idea I was going for, is that there's like the guitars, everything guitar-esque, fighting against everything that's keys and piano and synthesizer-esque. And you know, when that all comes to fruition, it all just sounds like it's one, I think it's very theatrical in nature, you know, the production itself. So I don't know, that was what was going through my head, but I think that was, you know, if you think about it, and now that you'll you listen to it and be like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that's the goal he was, you know, trying to reach, and I think I kind of got there. So I don't know, I like it.
Well, Ryan, congratulations on a great release. And you can check out Subtleness on all streaming platforms, along with the music video on Ryan's YouTube channel. With that being said, I'm Neko Trocki, this is Ryan Romano, and we'll see you around the community.
Be sure to stay subtle. Thank you.